Go.
Oh, what's happened here?
Just advance this one. Yeah, you should come back.
Okay, so again, this isn't, this is giving you an idea of what to include in your report. Just coming back to goals and objectives, a little bit more there. So we're just going to talk a bit about that and then action plans. But really, it's important that you're realistic. You have realistic time frames, and you've got to take into consideration the amount of capital you've got. You might be highly, you might have a fairly indebted, so you can't afford to. You might just have to stick with a second-hand tractor rather than going out and buying a flash new one, etc. Or the land might be limiting as well, the type of land. I guess, I mean, a good saying, again, we used to hear in the bank was, it's no point having champagne tastes on a beer income. So land, you've got to be specific to what the capability of the land is, and then obviously what yourself is, what your skills and knowledge are as well. So let's just talking about that. But this is the SMART, which I was talking about. So your objectives. So SMART there, obviously they need to be specific, not too wishy-washy. You've got to be able to measure it, as we were saying before, and if it moves, you measure it. Achievable and realistic. Actually, I have seen another word, because achievable and realistic, as far as I'm concerned, are probably pretty much the same, really. But importantly, you've got to have a time, I mean, I can say to myself, I'm going to lose 20 kilos, well, that's fine, but when am I going to lose 20 kilos by? So, you've got to have some dates here. Okay?
Would measurable be like, I'm going to measure, oh my God, I can't think today. Basically, I'm going to see how many tons, I'm measuring the amount of profit I'm going to make per ton.
Yep.
Compared to maybe the year before, or the year before.
Yep.
That'll be a measurable thing that I'm going to,
Yep.
That's what I'm projecting measurement will be.
Yeah, so your objective is to increase your profit per tonne, your economic vineyard surplus by 5% or something like that.
Right.
Might be your objective. So make sure it's in line with your goal. So let's just go through that. That's a good one. Let's just talk about that. So it's specific, you can measure it. Achievable, you obviously, if you're going to lift your profit by X amount, does that mean that you're going to have to double your yield, which is unrealistic, or is the price going to have to be a lot more? So you've got to do that, and time frame. So so that's within the next thing there. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So action plans. So what's quite good there? Audit allocation of resources, and again this ties in with that management plan or production plan. Sorry, I'm going up there. Yeah, so many good plans fail because of poor implementation, hence the need for action plans. So again, it's writing those goals down, but it's writing down what's got to be done, so you can always, you've got somewhere to come, a term of reference or something to come back to. I'm just trying to think. So way to do, so your objective. So let's just talk about that objective. So what was your objective, Chili?
Pardon me?
What was your objective?
For kilos?
What was the one you were just saying? You were saying you were wanting to increase the profit per...
per vine.
Oh, per vine. Yeah.
Okay, I mean...
Profit per hectare.
Per hectare, excuse me.
By 5% per annum?
Yeah.
Can we just say that?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the steps? So how are you going to do that? What are some of the things? What's that, sorry?
Plant. Sorry. Going from there land.
So
Yeah. Well, actually, that's that's sort of a goal once you're up and running, isn't it? So your goal is to set your one of your objectives is to get your vineyard up and running. This is sort of when you've got it up and running. Is that right?
Yeah, and maybe increase, if I need to increase profit, increase product by maybe viticultural wise, is laying down more buds or more bunches. That's what.
Yeah. So you'd have that there, and then you're going to sort of, with the action plan, you're going to say who's going to do it, or when are you going to do that. So that's that pruning.
So number of canes, maybe.
Yeah, number of canes. Yeah, so you're going to increase your yield. So what are the ways you can increase profit?
yeah,
One is to increase yield. What's the other one?
Decrease cost.
Yeah. And what else? Well, obviously increase your quality. Yeah.
well, yeah, try and get a better price per ton.
Yeah.
But the only way to do that is to go up to the next.
So one of your so that's kind of your goal or your objective. Well, I would say that's probably a goal because that's going to take a while to get there. So if you step that down, you say, well, one of the ways to do that is I'm going to increase yield. So how am I going to do that? And a pruning regime, changing that.
For instance, if you went from 2 cane to 4 cane, you're instantly going to increase yield. But how sustainable is that across that block on that site? It might increase yield in year 1, but if it can't handle it, year 2 it'll fall back. And is an increase in yield going to affect quality?
Yeah.
The inference would be yes, it is.
Did you see a dramatic when you went from 4 to 3 when we did yours? I think we talked this before, but don't remember.
First year when you go from 2 to 4, you have a huge increase in yield, but then it tends to drop back. But that's very site specific. Very site specific. You've got to find that balance.
What about selling to different markets? If I have a contractor that, say he's giving me 3,000, where I know I can sell this on the open market at a better price, would that be something that's a measurable goal to achieve, or a measurable way of increasing profit?
Outside of the boundaries of this assignment, in reality, potentially yes, you could. I mean, for instance, there are great contracts out there, not very many, which would be bricks related. Where it said if you achieve 24 bricks, you're going to get 3.5. I don't know. Depends what you grind, but let's say 24 bricks Merlot, you're going to get $2,000 a ton.
Okay.
If you only achieve 23 bricks, you're only going to get $1,600 a ton. Okay, so it's a bricks related schedule. Now, that's fraught with difficulties and problems, and most of them will have one bricks target, and then if they're prepared to take the lower quality, there will be a sliding scale. But there's not many contracts out there which would give you the option that, if you go to 26 bricks, 26 bricks Merlot, how many times would you see that? But, are they going to pay you more for that? Well, chances are not, in reality. So you're quite limited with grape growing, going through that kind of process of how do I increase my profitability. Once you have the vineyard set up to its optimum performance, there ain't a lot you can do other than cut costs.
Yeah.
That's the problem with
Yeah. And we're probably a wee bit off the track here because again, we're getting you up to that steady state situation. That's what your project's about, rather than sort of once you're up and running, how do you make it even better? I guess. So we don't want to get too hung up on that. So it's all about in the action plans. As I say, we're not like a factory producing X amount of widgets, and if we alter one machine or do something, we'll make X amount more widgets. Agricultural, whether it's horticultural or pastoral farming, what your biggest variable is the weather, and that affects so many things, or biological systems. So, in any plan you have, you've got to have that flexibility. You're going to have some contingency plans there, and being able to adapt quickly to changes in circumstances. And you're always going to be doing it with imperfect knowledge, not with There's not always one size doesn't fit all, and every situation is different. So what you've got to build into your action plan is some flexibility. But the key thing with action plans is who's going to do it and when is it going to be done by. Well, yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Commit it to paper and make it professional. As I say, you can do a 5-10 year business plan, and that's fine. I'm just coming back to the assignment. The business plan is only part of it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's forming the core of it.
Yeah, the core. Yeah. As I said, once you get up and running and things, it's quite good just to have a one pager, But yeah, you've got to make, at this stage, more is going to be better than less. So having everything covered.
How would you have a one-page article?
Oh, I guess I'm talking about summaries here, like
Figures, percentages.
yeah, well, it's just like a flow diagram, really, or something like that. So I'm just trying to think of one. So you have your overall goal in the middle, or the goal at the top. We want to increase, or we want to have a viable business or a sustainable business that gives us a great lifestyle, and that's all there. How are we going to do this? We're going to concentrate on quality, quantity, and then you just have your different things down here on how you're going to increase quality, and then quantity, that was quality, sorry, and then blah 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 quantity. So it's just like a big sort of mind map thing. Okay. Yeah, that's all. I have just sort of seen them set up like that, but that's not really relevant to this paper. Yeah, so we're just talking a little bit more there about action plans. And again, coming back to that pie, really important to monitor how you're going. So having regular reviews of, well, how are we on track? And that timing of activities, that's what we were talking about, that production plan, really important to have that, because from that will flow some of your action plans. And yeah, who's responsible for what, which I think you're going to be, as I said, you're the chief bottle washer. So you're pretty much going to be doing most of it, or supervising or getting contractors in at certain times. Yeah, a successful plan is one that's is done on time, meets the deadline, and quality is good, and you're within your budget there. So key aspects of plan implementation, controlling the quality. Yeah, I mean, we'll just cover that. It's just another way of saying that. Can't really add much there to what's there. I mean, yeah, when you're working in a team, let's say everyone needs to know what the plan is, or why you're doing certain things, or even your contractors, hey, I want this sort of spacing because of such and such. And yeah, working, I can't really add much more to that slide. Yeah, important when you're working with a team to get their contribution as well, because 1 + 1 = 3, and they can come up with things that you might not even thought about. So, and a lot of contractors too, obviously when you're getting them there, they're going on to all sorts of vineyards or systems, etc. They're going to have some really good, perhaps have some good ideas for you as well. So, yeah, the big thing is with plan in terms of cost control is regularly monitoring it. And again, and it's changed a lot in my career from the start of when I started banking to when I was sort of finishing it. And that, the guys, they wouldn't even do a budget. The farmer, I mean, he just do it literally on the back of an envelope or something like that. Or then he'd do a budget and he'd get somebody else to do it, a consultant, and then he'd just have it tucked in the drawer and never bring it out again. So it's all about constantly bringing out your budget and your cash flow and changing it and tweaking it each month. And I guess one of the great things that's helped business management is GST, because you've got to prepare a return either monthly, 2 monthly, or 6 monthly. And your business cash flow, I'm going to just assume that your GST is monthly, because that'll show the GST you've got to pay or refund you get each month. So it's just a bit of an aside, but again, it's just constantly looking at it, and the software available now with MyOb and Xero and or Cash Manager is one used heavily in the pastoral industries. Is great. You can see, well, this is the original budget, and this is where we are, and this is where we are compared to actual, or budget compared to actual, or actual compared to budget, and you're constantly updating it. So it's just a matter of keeping, not writing something down or doing a budget and then not looking at it. And I guess the thing on that, I'm great at doing my own personal budget, but I always tend to overspend more than I think I'm going to do. But at least it'll tell you where you're going wrong pretty quickly as well. Yep. Again, we've been talking about that, but what are the ifs in there? The plan A's and the plan B's. So, and how will you know when things are going wrong, and what are you going to do about it, and what can go wrong? And that's pretty much the official part of it. What we can just spend some time kicking around how we're going to, how we're going. Each of you, if you can sort of give us an update of where you're at so far with the project, and what maybe you're struggling with, because you might find somebody else here is struggling as well, or might have a bit of an idea of how to where you're going to get some information. So, who do we want to start with?
Who started? Has anyone started putting any kind of spreadsheet together, costs or budget?
Kind of been throwing figures around, but nothing really on a spreadsheet.
So at the moment, the assignment is an overview.
Yeah.
They're not getting into the nitty gritty just yet.
Yeah.
So they're looking at raw costs.
Yeah.
Approximate data, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
To look at possible returns and different margins, basically different options.
To base which way they're going to go.
Yeah.
I have a hard time getting prices of land that has been sold on the gravels.
Yes, that question you had for me yesterday.
I just can't.
Now you said that one block, the
Babbage block, yeah.
which sold
It sold it last month or month.
It was fairly recently,
Yeah.
but there's no.
I couldn't find any there was, I can't remember the sale price, but it didn't tell me was sale price just bare land or was it with the vineyard. But I think they put that vineyard in, Babbage did. But that's immaterial, but I can't compare. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for.
Okay, it was sold as a vineyard, definitely. Whether they redeveloped or not is irrelevant. They bought it as a vineyard.
Yeah.
So what you're asking is, where could you find the sale price?
Is it only just happened, is it?
Recently, yeah.
It would have been in
Last 6 months?
the last 6 months.
Yeah, it didn't come up in that
No.
data I gave you.
No.
Was it on the market with a real estate company?
I don't know.
Because sometimes deals are done privately, so to speak, and so we can't capture it through that real estate institute, which is where that information I got you from.
Is it? But if it's a matter of public record,
Yeah, but it depends. It is a matter of public record, but it's the time between when it's done and when it becomes public record can be quite a delay.
That's
depending on the settlement and when the solicitor actually files a return. Yeah, you've got my email. Why don't you send me some details on it?
Yeah.
I can see if I can find out for you with my sources.
All I know now is that the property and cost per hectare in 2006 was $80,000 per hectare on the gravels.
Yeah,
That's what the bare land.
was before it had any vineyard on it.
Yeah, that's for Unison. He went for improvements, which was a vineyard, and that was the cost of the land itself at that time.
Yeah, that's 2006. Yeah, well, it's probably peaked.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Peaked it. 150, 200. Some of that land, or once it was developed, was going for 200,000 a hectare right at the peak. There hasn't been a lot of gimlet gravel sold lately, from my understanding. You got your para 2, well that's, that was cheap as chips. That's, you're doing para 2, aren't you? Yeah. And what you going to do, Craigie Range, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about you? You're...
I'm doing a Morton Estate vineyard.
Oh yeah, that's right on Marakaka Road, is it? Or State Highway 50?
State Highway 50.
Oh yeah. Where's that? Is that before, whereabouts roughly is that vineyard?
It's just before the new Elephant Hill block, or I think it's next to Crown Fort. Is that right?
No. It's if you go past Ash Ridge, Solidor on Highway 50.
Ah, is that?
Oh, that's the back. Yeah, Highway 50. You're talking. Yeah. Past.
So if you go past Natara Road,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and you go around the corner of Royce Hill,
Yes.
yeah, you then hit the straight
Yeah.
before you get to the T junction.
Yeah. To get onto Highway 50. The T junction of Marakaka Road
Yeah.
coming into Highway 50. Yeah.
Well, once you hit the straight on Highway 50 on that section, it's about halfway along.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's quite a big area in the middle of the gravel, so.
Yeah. So is Gravels there? Is it past Tiawa Road?
Sorry, on the Bridge Pyramid, not Gilman Gravels.
Yes.
It's red metal.
Red metal. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything that I've talked about today or last week that you think you're a bit confused about, or?
I mean, a lot of the information that Paul's put up on these slides, there's things in there that we won't necessarily be using.
Yeah.
And detail in there, like staff and involving staff in decision making and things. I mean, that, I asked Paul to put up this sort of general business plan information he had. So there's a lot of specific stuff in here that you won't need, obviously. I hope it's obvious. But it does give you a very good idea of what a full scale proper business plan, if you like, should include. Yours are going to be much simpler than this in the amount and types of information they hold. The key financial information that goes into the budget and cash flows will be the really important stuff.
So we've got another session planned for next week. That's Friday.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah.
Same day, same time. Yeah. Well, I think we'll cover that pretty quickly, and then I'll definitely have that spreadsheet, the GST side of it. It would be easier if I get that fixed before you actually go in there and start using it, because then you're going to have to alter it within it, and it'll probably lead to a few bugs and problems like that. So, but certainly have a look at that format there. I mean, it's going to give you some idea on some general costs which you can start, or headings in that for you to use to find out.
It would be good next week if we could have some real data in there.
Yeah.
So, I think probably once that's that's done,
I'll get it done tomorrow. Yeah.
We'll
I'll
try and
dump
some.
So so where are you going to get that real data from?
Why don't you?
I've got a spreadsheet, but it's without the data as well. So it's pretty much the same as the one you put up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you use some of the broad scale costs that you're using at the moment for the overview and dump them into that spreadsheet, so that we can start to have a look at the bottom line, as it's called, the difference between costs and income.
And I think what you're going to find, or you're developing, is getting your where you're going to get your costs, what it's going to cost, for posts and stuff like that. Have you got sort of?
Well, they won't have gone into any great detail on that, because that's the second part. This overview is looking at approximate costs.
So basically looking at it when it's standard up and running, and then working backwards from there.
Is the formula of variety and quality that they're aiming to grow, is that going to be achievable on that side?
Yep.
For that return.
Yep.
So
and then working backwards from there. Because your cash flow or your budgets, that's what it was just a matter of copying them changing the dates on the top. But yeah, it's a good plan for you of what you're going to do in year 1 and year 2, and how when the costs, because all your costs aren't going to be all up front. There'll be things that you're doing sort of during the within those 2 to 3 years. Although saying that, most of it is you're clearing the land and putting in the posts, etc., and planting it. When do you plant? Sort of spring or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
If you've got frost protection, really as soon as soil temperatures warm up, you want to get plants in the ground.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
October.
soon, in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no later than October.
Yeah. Okay.
No, nothing else. No one else or any more.
You're comfortable with what you
Not really.
If you've got some specific, use the ET online. Was it?
EIT.
EIT online or whatever it is, and then those questions come through, and then we can answer them, or I can answer specifically for me, and then everyone sees them. Because as I say, if you're having a problem, no doubt one of the others is probably as well.